And then Milry Williams is an interesting guy, has an extensive background in a variety of communications, including with nonprofits and universities. And then he became a retirement and career coach. So he found that he really enjoyed working with people over 40 who were kind of lost and didn't know what to do next. And so he's very focused on that. And I thought that he would be an interesting guy to talk to them. He was
Guys like
introduced by Faizun, by the way.
guys like Tom Patchy.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's got to have a job, right?
We'll
Okay.
work
Come on,
on that.
I'm too busy for that.
And then there's Carrie Ward, and she, as it was introduced by Sarah, she's she runs a veteran history project for the Library of Congress.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next one that was on my list. Sarah Mitch had spoken to me after one of our meetings and mentioned that she had several complaints about our website. Our website really hasn't been changed, what, in about 5 years?
Right. Well,
Maybe,
it
maybe
gets
even more.
updated every time there's a new video, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and that came out, and we don't have a lot of money to be formed with the website, but I did get an interesting email, which I shared with you people, by a student at one of the high schools, I think it was in the Washington area, that are doing web site updates as a project in high school for nonprofits. And the first woman that contacted me was a woman by the name of Namay Sharma. And she broached the idea. I passed it on to all you guys. Interestingly, about 5 of her classmates have sent me the same exact email, all interested. So it must be kind of a school project.
Mhm.
I thought it was worth somebody, one of our group, talking to her. And I just don't know who that should be. Sarah Mitch couldn't join us for the call today. She's tied up. But I wanted you to give some thought to it. I could call her, but I don't know that I'm the right one to deal with it. So if one of you people, maybe Amanda, you could give her a call and just see what she's talking about.
I'd be happy to do that. Patty had some interest in redoing our website at one point. Would you, let me ask her if you want to
Well,
take.
Patty, would you be able to, maybe you and Amanda make a call to this lady?
We could. I know I always say I'm going to do the website. I want to do it, but it's just, time constraints for me. Um, so I could try. I know the fall will be better. I always say the fall will be better, but he's going to school longer.
Yeah.
So that will be good.
Okay, why don't you two reach out to her, give her a call, and then let us know what you find out.
And it's okay. So it's the email and but you don't know her location or anything.
It's in the email.
Okay.
And if you want, let me know. I can resend it to you.
Okay, and then we just need to confirm, it would be wonderful if someone would step in and for free design a marvelous website for us. It would be fantastic. There are two things. No, I mean, wouldn't that be everybody would love that. There are two things that I wanted to bring up. Number one is that we have already paid for another year, not just with our physical or the website as it looks today, but with our with the host that is hosting our website.
Right.
And you have to pay for that. So the students, and we'll talk to them and find out about this, but it's very likely that they're using the host that we would have to pay for, which would be a different host than the one we've already paid for. So that's one thing that
Would we be able to adjust ours?
Who is it
maybe we can always talk to her, but often the students in a class are studying and using one particular one, and that's how they're learning how to do it. But that's something we can ask. And the second thing is, what she was proposing is a design, and a design is great, However, she's not going to write the words or assemble the photos and the videos and the so forth. So those are separate categories. So this is a significant project, even if she's designing a website. And so we need to be clear about that. I mean,
And, and
I
we
think,
are
I feel
like
like I
money,
could do the
so
design part, which I started sketching it out already. Like I could do that part. It's the coding, yeah, and the behind the scene stuff that's harder. Yeah.
yeah, and it's the in order to do a website justice, you need to know and understand the audience.
Right.
Who are they? What do you want to tell them? What do they want to know? Hello, how are you, Frankie? Um, what those that's really critical because each audience is looking for different things and you know interested in different things. So you've got to know the audience, and then you have to write to the audience, write the things that they're going to be interested in, and so forth. And then you have to make it visually appealing to that audience. And some audiences like a lot of white space, some audiences whatever. So um, so it would be as the designer, we would have to get her imbued in the culture of wounded veterans, spouses, and caregivers so that she would understand that audience. So it's a fantastic idea. I just think it's a lot bigger than we know or than we realize. And I would love to talk to her and Patty, with the two of us can talk to her. I just would also understand that it's a big project and it isn't going to be free because we'll probably need a new host
well,
system.
I would not want to change host. I assume we can change what we have on the host we're using right now.
Well, again, if if she is familiar with Weebly, we can.
Okay,
But the other thing is that we have paid through the end of,
yeah,
you know,
and that's
we
why I'd
just
like
paid
to
for it.
use that.
Yeah,
I don't have the money for a new host for the year.
right.
Okay. Uh,
Patty and I will take it away from and go and have a nice conversation with this young
okay.
lady.
The next thing was John Braley. Are you around? The next thing was the use of
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
and the reason I brought up Instagram, uh, John Rayleigh introduced me to social media 110 years ago. He told me about Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and I had no idea what any of them were. And they'd become a key way of me communicating with vets. What I'm intrigued about is in the past year, Kevin Construction, who up until a couple of years ago didn't know how to spell social media, is using Instagram extensively all the time. And it's amazing. They're talking about projects, they're talking about things they're doing. And a company that Helga Junold, who I worked for in Halcro for almost 12 years, is with Arcadis, one of the biggest engineering firms in the world, and they're using Instagram a lot. Now, I know Ann used to post pictures of our speakers on Instagram under the 100 Entrepreneur page. We missed Fazoom a month and a half ago, but and I've been posting a couple of things on the Instagram page. It seems to me that somehow we need to post more info on what we are doing with our 100 Entrepreneurs monthly meeting on Instagram, because I think we're seeing businesses in our industry that I'm familiar with really expanding the use. Now, John, do you have any thoughts on that? What you've seen or experienced?
Yeah, well, first of all, I appreciate the shout out, but like I said in my message yesterday, I think you pushed me with Oliver and your buddies in Switzerland back in the day. So just as a point of reference, I can't remember what the company was called. It was I something. But one,
Industry to industry as part of the World Economic Forum.
there you go. See, I knew it. Well, one thing that LinkedIn has done tremendously well is in the human resources space. In other words, I've heard HR professionals tell me that 80% of the positions that they fill come from LinkedIn. So upping your game there is really important. Now, as much as I understand a little bit about its capacity, I have to say I'm not a super user by any stretch. I don't post on a regular basis, probably to my detriment, but they're both very powerful. And there's a couple tips and tricks that you can do that blend the AI conversation with LinkedIn. And I'll just describe it real quick. One is if you take your profile and you say save profile or print to PDF, it'll basically give you a resume looking image of your document, which is fine. And then you go and you say, here's a job description from something, and you put them both in chat at the same time and say, how appropriate pros, cons am I, up for this job based on what these two documents show? It'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about what it looks like for you. And you can go further and say, what questions should I ask? What other things? So there's a way to take LinkedIn to the next level just by doing some simple things. Now, broadcasting, getting messages out, I think most of the world's on LinkedIn in multiple incarnations. So it's a good inspiration for sure.
Well,
So,
my simple thought was Anne has had a little experience posting things on Instagram.
mhm,
She posts information on 100 entrepreneurs' upcoming meetings or subject matter, or like our fall speaker agenda
mhm,
that will get attention. I know my personal page on LinkedIn, I must get 100 contacts a week,
mhm,
only get five on 100 entrepreneurs.
hmm.
But amazingly, I get a lot of links from Turner employees all over the world.
That's great.
And that intrigues me. So I think, and if you could dabble around and experiment, I think we might learn something.
Okay,
Yeah,
will
Bob,
will do.
the other elements that live in both Instagram and in LinkedIn in different ways, you can announce to your entire network of people that are following you or otherwise that you're live streaming an event. So say 11:30 the day of
Yeah,
one of the webinars, you could say, "Hey, come join. We're going to go live here in 30 minutes. Here's the link." And I've joined a couple of those events for folks all over the place just for awareness. So the
yeah,
vehicle
I've been
continues to
tempted
improve and
too.
get
Yeah,
better. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So you're not stuck with emails only. You
I
can
I think
touch
this
everybody.
might be a very simple way of us getting more attention in the business environment. And people will be at least intrigued, if nothing else, by our name.
Hmm.
Now, John, you threw out the thing of artificial intelligence, and I have been scratching my head on artificial intelligence for about 4 or 5 years because I don't understand what all the bullshit's about.
Yeah.
And I think artificial intelligence has been around 100 years. You just had to sort out what was real and what was BS. It's like
Hmm.
reading the Washington Post every morning. But artificial intelligence is doing a lot of things. I'm intrigued that you thought it might have an application with us. I just, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's an interesting universe that you step into, and I can spell AI, and that's about it on the tech side of it. But the utilization, there's a company that I'm connected with, and I think it'll resonate in the construction stuff for you and Tom. It's called Lupa, and in fact, Turner's starting to dabble in it right now. And effectively, what it does is it pulls information from all sorts of different software platforms. So if you have your Primavera schedule and your AutoCAD drawings and your emails and all these things, you can type in, tell me about the eighth floor lobby and what the issues are with that. And it'll comb all those things, that drawing, that site photo, that email from 4 years ago that people forgot about. It's in the contract, and it'll pull all those pieces together and give you an answer in a chattable form. So it's an innovative way to mine data. The thing that everybody's using for free has a lot of limitations. The Chat GBT, it only does 40 pages, for example. Um, but I think if you imagine you've got a data lake of information and insights from 100 entrepreneurs across all those videos and folks that you've been talking to, instead of,
Got 800 or 900 videos.
there you go. Yeah. So instead of, looking for a keyword search, there are various tools that will allow you to pull specific information. So let's say I'm at Walter Reed and I'm recovering from something, and I've got an interest in, I don't know, automotive or bird watching or something like that. I say, huh, I wonder if these guys ever did a session on those. And you can Google it, right? Like we've all been doing for 20 years now, but you can get hyper specific in your search, so you're not, looking through 10 videos. Maybe it gets you down to the top two a little more quickly. So there's different tools out there that can kind of do that.
What intrigued me about their website, John, I went to it this morning to look at it,
Oh, good.
and I think you know these guys. It was 4 goddamn pages before I had a clue what they did.
Yeah.
They wrote it citing some techie words that meant absolutely nothing to me.
Yeah.
And finally, I got on page 4 or 5, and you
Yeah.
could understand them going into the Buffalo football stadium and where they would be very useful.
Yeah.
I had also zero clue at what the hell they charge. I could barely find the page.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I can take you through that specific platform. I'm actually a 1099 for them.
what's
So
it? Oh, okay. You're a
yeah.
consultant. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm helping them. They're funded by the World Bank. They got Ballast Needham as a portfolio customer, punching way above their weight in this space. But it's that specific for construction, and it's only an example of how AI applies to different forums. But I think there's a social forum that
John,
you
why
can
don't
do too.
why don't you talk to them,
Yeah.
possibly taking a look at what we do, our website, and see if there's a way they could do a research base on our 800 videos on YouTube.
Yeah, I've got a different group that I think would be more applicable, to be
Okay.
honest, because those guys are like, we're doing all the steel analysis for Willets Point right now, trying to
Okay.
determine if it's a $20 million change order or a $10 million change order. Fascinating stuff. But just the idea and the methodology of using AI in different ways is is something you can avail yourselves of, I think, without too much. I got another group that I think
You
might be more on target.
you've just become our AI expert, unpaid, without knowing it. I would
That,
like
that's
to
just
explore.
that's just because I can spell it. That's all.
I had to look up on spell check.
Yeah.
I had AEIE, EYE.
Well, Bob, I don't know if you and Tom want to like take a quick tour at some point in the next few days or even after this. I'd be happy to, because I think once you see it, you'll be like, oh shit, this would take us months and years to get through it.
Not right now, but you
No,
take
not
a look
now.
at this other site, come up with a couple of ideas, contact me and Tom. And I
Yeah.
think we'd like to watch something on Zoom one day.
Yeah, yeah. I'll take you guys on tour anytime you wanted, the Lupa stuff, and I'll get the other guys. I'll
I
call
mean,
I'll call the founder after this.
social media has literally changed the entire news industry right in front of our eyes, and we didn't even know what was going on. So, there's something in AI that can be linked to 100 entrepreneurs.
1000%.
Anybody disagree, or anybody got any other ideas? Okay, great. The other thing I wanted to mention, yeah, go ahead, Patty.
I think you do
can't
have a
hear
point
you,
with Instagram. Can you hear me?
No,
Yeah.
there you go.
I think you do have a point with Instagram, just from what I'm seeing, because I have the 24-year-old in my house, and he's on a lot of different social media, but he's also on Instagram. And then I have friends in their 40s that are very heavily on Instagram.
Yep.
So I think it's maybe when you get a little bit closer to my age, we're not on it as much, like 50. But like I think the people that we're marketing to, that's a big wide range of people. And it's not like TikTok where people are super young. I mean, TikTok's getting older, but I think Instagram is a good market for us, actually, as you said.
What
to
about
reach-
people my age?
I don't know.
That's really scary.
Facebook. They're on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. They're on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
And I
it's just for the
still,
it's different things like Amanda always says. For fundraising, maybe it's LinkedIn. Maybe it's LinkedIn, a lot of people looking for jobs. Yeah, that makes sense. But Instagram gives you like a really, like my nephew who's 24, who could have served already. Actually, some of his buddies have already gotten out. He's not on LinkedIn. He's not. So it just depends what we're trying to do.
and believe it or not, what's really intriguing to me is of the 600 or so wounded veterans that I'm friends with on Facebook, I stay in touch with on a regular basis with about 200 of them. And on a very regular basis, including some bad amputee cases, double, triple amputees, even a quadruple amputee on a more frequent basis. So it works in certain ways. The other thing I had, and then I'll drop back to Amanda's schedule or thoughts, was Amanda and Tom Patchy went to New York last week to meet Peter Daverin to celebrate Tom Patchy's 100th year with Turner. And he did mention 100 entrepreneurs once or twice. Would you just pass on to the group what you thought you heard?
Sure. Tom, do you want to go first, seeing as how it was all about you primarily?
Well, no, Peter opens up the lunch. And by the way, I was there for 54 years, and he bought us soup in the office, in the corner of the kitchen.
Yeah.
So he's a very economical guy, by the way. So
What was your lunch?
he opens up the lunch. We had salads. It was real informal, but it was an hour long, so that was pretty good. So he said right off the bat, he looked at Amanda and he says, "I've heard a lot about you, and I know that you work with Bob Nielsen on his program, and tell me what you do, and tell me about the program, what's going on, and stuff like that."
I think his opening statement was, "How's Bob?"
Well, he did. He did say, "How's Bob?"
To say that goddamn Bob Nelson?
Yeah, no, we did. We told him that you're becoming an AI expert, that you are now so high tech that it's unbelievable.
This
It's not
is
even the same guy.
63rd year with Turner. And by the way, he still makes a donation to us every year. And it was 6 months late this year because things have been a little hectic in New York. But H.T. Tran has agreed to be signatory to the letter that we send in to him. And we're going to send it in before the Christmas holidays.
Are you still sending it to him or to the new leadership?
I only send the letter to Peter Daverin.
Yeah, okay. Because he'll be active there probably for a couple more years because he's moving into the European operation.
Okay. No, we only send it to Peter Daverin and Burnett because he's not told me to send it to a bra or anything else. And
Okay, good.
I want to be very careful about stepping on toes the wrong way.
Yeah,
But
Yep.
so it's he and Bernadette are the ones that handle it.
perfect. Okay, great.
And jumping on to
One more thing. He did talk quite a bit about 100 entrepreneurs, and he did ask questions.
maybe
And he wanted to know how we got our speakers. And I said, well,
you raise your hand.
and it's a group effort, but and he said, "Oh, I know people who'd be good speakers." So he offered to give me speakers. We'll see.
Well, and that's another reason I'd love to talk to the AI guys that John Braley knows, because if they're former Turner guys and Turner's getting into that, they'll all talk about it. Great.
Yeah.
I mentioned that our
In our letter to him, just to let you all know, the letter we do like really detail the speakers. So if you read the letter, we talk about throughout the year who
Yeah.
we
Yes.
yeah.
Patty does a great job of updating on the highlights of the year and key speakers and things like that. And what I'm convinced of more than anything is the numbers of people that we've impacted, I don't particularly pay attention to. What I'm astounded at is the ones coming back to me after 10, 15 years of hearing our 100 entrepreneur spiel, literally thanking us for putting a change in direction in their life. And what I'm finding, because I'm dealing a lot more with post traumatic stress or post traumatic winning, as I like to call it, you think about it, of all the ones we've had attend our sessions, I only know one that committed suicide. And that's an astounding number when you think of dealing with wounded vets and caregivers. And I think 100 Entrepreneurs has had a far bigger impact on vets and caregivers in the idea of getting their life back under control and minimizing the impact of trauma. And we need to get that in our messages when we do it on Instagram and stuff. Because when I tell people to really deal with veterans, they're astounded. And I had a call this Sunday from Elizabeth Painter, who was a therapist at Walter Reed, retired Army colonel for 10 years. And she said, Bob, what you've done with entrepreneurship and veterans dealing with trauma stress is unbelievable. And I don't think we ever thought of the word trauma stress when we came up with 100 Entrepreneurs. So it is a big piece of it, and we need to get it out, particularly on Instagram and that kind of stuff. I did get the check from Peter. It was 4 or 5 months late. Bernadette apologized, and Bernadette doesn't often apologize. Bernadette's been Peter's assistant for 100 years. They've been good and they've been very helpful. We do have enough money to get through this year and into the early part of next year. We don't have a lot of donors. I still have fraternity brothers that send money and people I serve with in Urban Land Institute, and a couple of them that have done very well in real estate, and they'll send 5 or 10 grand and a couple of times even 20 grand. We struggle along trying to get the money, but we're able to survive on our low scale budget. So the contingency, I don't really think we have a contingency per se. I've been toying with the idea of trying to get somebody to help with doing the stuff that I do. And I've been thinking about, obviously, you people on the screen here, except for Tom Patchy, he's too old. But and I've been also thinking of trying to get Lee Ellington, because she lives out here near us, and she could help with some of the paperwork and the stuff and so on. If you've got thoughts or ideas, I'm happy to explore them with you. And I have also talked to HG Tran, because HG Tran has a real interest of support in what we do and how we do it. And HT seems very well embedded in Texas, what he's doing for Turner down there. But who knows where HT is going to be in 3 years, 5 years nowadays. So when you have thoughts, pick up the phone, give me a call. Website redo, we talked about that. Social media, we talked about that. Improving attendance, I really think Instagram is going to be the key to improving our attendance. And all of us, and when you send out emails, copy all of us that are on our list, and don't hesitate to share things with Ann. And
one quick note I want to make here, especially as it relates to attendance. Instagram and social media in general, but Instagram is, I know the specifics for this one. it's a fabulous communications tool, and it gets out lots of information. And every once in a while, somebody hits it out of the park with Instagram because they post something and it goes viral and it's extraordinary. Um, but for the most part, the response rate from an Instagram post is 0.0003 or 0.0003%. So you have to have a very big audience of people who, who see your posts in order for them to respond, whether that's buying something or attending something or whatever. And so I think it's 0.003 anyway, somewhere in there. And so I'm not sure that that's something we could do, and maybe there's a way to go viral, but you have to be careful about that. Sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's bad. And but the thing is that you need to have other avenues besides social media, because social media is more about scrolling in general to people than it is about action. And that again, that there are exceptions to that rule, but you have to make it an exception in some way. You have to make it a big one, something big. And again, that can go for you and again, yeah.
Yeah. One reaction to that, and I don't disagree. I think Instagram is a little more social and LinkedIn is more professional, right? So you can invite a bunch of people to something quite easily through
Right.
LinkedIn that are already engaged with you somehow. That's how you got to them.
Yeah.
Whereas Instagram, if you had, a highlight reel of, maybe less than a minute, maybe 30 seconds of really poignant statements or something that once a month you could put out on Instagram, say, hey, these are the kinds of things that you hear at 100 Entrepreneurs. Our next one is at the link below, in the thing. Then the CTA is pretty obvious and people can jump to that.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Amanda, how do people go to the YouTube videos now? Do most of them go through LinkedIn, or do most of them go through Instagram, or
Well, a lot of them the bulk of them are people who I don't know how they got there. The ones who join it, who become subscribers, are people who may have heard about us one way or the other, but they're not necessarily attendees, as far as I can tell. They're not necessarily on the newsletter list. But then a lot of people don't subscribe; they just go there, and that there could be a newsletter, it could have been attendance, it could have been word of mouth. It could have been social media, but we don't have I can tell you what percent are from the United States, but I haven't yet they don't drill it down quite yet to each type of social media.
because that's interesting. We'll get a couple hundred people looking at the video.
Every month.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I do when I post on Facebook and Instagram is put a link into the most recent video that I'm talking about in there.
Right.
And so they can click on that and go right to it.
Mhm.
How many people do that, I don't know.
But
Yeah.
we need to keep doing that because that broadens the access we need,
Yeah.
Well, what if, and I'm sorry, Bob, I was just thinking if you had as your speakers, when you invite them, say, we really want to celebrate your efforts and what you've succeeded in doing, and we can't wait to hear about it. However, one thing we'd really like you to do is subscribe to our channel, number one, and number two, at least share the promotion piece for that month's event to 10 people or 8, give us a list of 7 or 8 people.
We've been doing it in our newsletter,
Yeah.
but I think if Ann adds it to the LinkedIn page, we'll start to improve this, and maybe even do it to the Instagram page.
Yeah.
I think that broadens the network to get these people out.
Reem, you could do that in LinkedIn, right? Aren't you doing LinkedIn? The kids must have gone wild.
Yeah.
Lee
has just joined us, and Lee, we're about to close out, so you can give your 20-minute speech to a blank screen. But we are recording this, and we've recorded about 90% of it, so you'll be able to take a look at it.
I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
Yep. We
Yes.
hear you, Ray.
All right. I do post on LinkedIn. I usually post the YouTube links and I will post like when there's a meeting. But I'm not an expert on LinkedIn. I've always used it as a job search tool. So I'm much better with I spend personally most of my time on Instagram and Facebook. So for LinkedIn, I post what we have, like what's available to share, but and respond. I think we had one person reach out to us by message once, and we started a conversation with her. But aside from that,
As long as you keep linking, putting a link to the videos, I think that's what we want to do.
Well, I think maybe even more important would be to link to the Zoom link to the meetings. So
we
that-
can do.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever shared the live
yeah,
Zoom link. I can't recall. The only issue with an open link is you might get anybody join. But if you guys want to do that, we can do that and see what happens.
Patty, can we delete somebody that signs on for a Zoom meeting that we don't want?
Yeah, so I always do like a waiting room.
Okay.
So, yeah, I always do a waiting room or passcode. And then
Okay.
yeah, we could use the open link, but yeah, I think we can delete that. Like if they come in and it's strange, we can kind of,
Okay.
right, Amanda? I think so.
I think so. Mhm.
Lee, just to bring you up to speed, we talked about the schedule for the rest of the year. Amanda sent around info on that. We talked about updating our website, and Amanda and Patty are going to talk to that young girl that's doing it in the high school in the area. We talked about utilization more of LinkedIn and Instagram and getting in the business end of passing the word on 100 entrepreneurs. And Ann Weatherby's going to put some more information and post links to our meetings and things along that line. John Braley gave us a 2-hour dissertation on artificial intelligence, of which we all understood about 30 seconds of it. But he has friends from Turner that are doing artificial intelligence in the industry, and we were talking about experimenting with it to possibly do something with the 800 videos that Amanda's put together of the Zoom meetings. So maybe there's something we can work on there. We also talked about the fact that Tom Patchy, who had his 57th day with Turner, and Amanda went to lunch with Peter Davern in New York, 54th, and they had a good lunch. Peter Davern bought him a bowl of soup and a paper cup. So, but there is a recording of all this, and I think we had good ideas from everybody, and I really do appreciate what you're doing, because as I deal more and more and more with post-traumatic winning, I'm astounded at the impact we have. We're doing 3 sessions on post-traumatic winning at our local Queen Anne's County Veterans Group, and we got 50, 60 people get together every Monday. And amazingly, the DCVA had a program going for 40 years for about 50 veterans dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, and in January decided to cut it out and eliminate it, and told these veterans, a majority of which were Black Vietnam veterans, that we're not going to do this anymore. You've accomplished all you're going to accomplish. It's not needed. And we have written letters to Congressman Harris. We've written letters to the head of the VA, and we've even written letters to the White House. And they just shut the meeting down. They don't want to do it anymore. So there's a huge need to deal with post-traumatic winning. I've sent some notes around on it, on what it can be interpreted as, but it's essentially a program of vets talking to vets, sharing ideas and thoughts, sharing frustrations and aggravations, and minimizing the impact of alcohol and drugs, because that combination really impacts people with trauma. And what's fascinating to me is we've learned that it's not just veterans that suffer from this, it's anybody that's goes through trauma in their life. And almost everybody I know goes through trauma in one shape or form. One thing astounding we found from Michael McNamara, who created this post traumatic winning, and he's gone around doing lectures to the entire active duty Marine Corps, 200,000 Marines, down to the battalion level. And he's actually helped them reduce suicide rates by upwards of 40 and 50% a year. So if a battalion was losing 10 a year, it's down to 5, which is amazing. The scarier part is of attempted suicides in the Marine Corps now. This is where we've been talking to people. A huge percentage were sexually abused before they ever went into service in dysfunctional families. And that just astounds me, and nobody's talking about that. So the post-traumatic winning piece is a key component that is rolled in all this. And our success rate, without even knowing what the hell we were doing, is pretty damn good. I mentioned, Lee, that of the 4,000 or so attendees, we've only had one suicide case. So there's a connection here that's really important. Any other thoughts, Amanda? Any other comments?
No, we just
Hey, Frankie,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I think that was everything on the list. So
Okay. I really appreciate everybody being here. John, I appreciate you taking time from your crazy schedule, but
No
yeah, and
problem.
John, one more point. I think that a speaker who could talk about AI and how it applies to the small business universe would
Yeah.
phenomenal speaker. So
we
if
would
you
love
can
to have
think of
one.
anybody, yeah, if you can think of anybody, we would love to
Yeah,
connect.
let me think about that. And Bob, I want to just to say kudos first of all for the team to hit those kind of numbers. I'm involved in New York with a group called Stop Soldier Suicide, and you guys were nice enough to host the founder last fall.
It was great.
And we're coming up again on the annual gala. They started doing them in Tampa. It turns out there's 9 states in the United States that account for approximately 85% of the soldier suicide rate,
Wow.
which I didn't realize. So they're starting to pinpoint particular states like Colorado and, California, New York.
North Carolina.
Yeah. So just as a point of interest to that extent, and for folks that want to talk more about fundraising and stuff, we got Blackstone to put in $100,000 to it again this year, and TD Bank is hosting it at One Vanderbilt. So if you guys have ideas on fundraising, it would be amazing. Um, in move in the right direction. I know Turner just announced a $5 million account for mental health support, so I think they're dedicating it in the construction space, but there's a lot of crossover. The other point I would just make, I put in the chat here the group that I'm thinking of. Um, the guy's name is John Duffy, and he's the CEO and founder. When you click on this link, and if you do it on your phone or on your computer or whatever, you actually get the ability to talk directly to John in an avatar. Like this is his actual face, his actual self, but all the movements you see done,
AI.
are done through AI, and it's conversational. He'll read your facial expression if you have your camera on. And the interesting thing is when I'm thinking about disabled vets and folks trying to get on their feet, if I don't know how to type or typing is difficult, having a voice interaction would be kind of interesting. And so my thinking is you take those videos, you get them in a digestible format. Someone has the ability to look at Bob, maybe you're the avatar in this case. Hi, I want to know about starting a new business. Okay, here's what would you like to know about a new business? And then you help them drill down to a specific subject, and then you say, here's 2 videos that may help you and off. Just an idea.
Yeah, we work with Paul Helensky, and he's a Marine Corps veteran, started a company called Vet Mentor AI. He's developed avatars, and they walk you through filing a disability and compensation claim.
Oh, okay.
And they help you, they then generate the easy form. You can use it it'll then help you strengthen that form.
Hmm.
He has a second avatar that will walk you through a CMP exam.
Okay.
And then a third one that will help you file an appeal.
Wow.
I need that person as a speaker.
Yeah, no, he's great.
I think
And
that person may be the perfect one.
That would
actually.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy.
Really
We have
scaring me.
Well,
a partnership with him. He'd be happy to do it.
Okay,
He's-
great.
He's done some other with fundraising,
Okay.
AI fundraising.
no, that's amazing. Yeah, because to me, one of the things that may not be obvious from going through, and I do encourage you guys, click on John Duffy chatbot here and chat with him for 2 minutes. You could turn it off, turn it back on. Couple things. It's entirely private. So if you come back into another instance, you click on it again afterwards and say, "Hey, I want to pick up where we left off." He'll be like, "Oh, well, please remind me what we were talking about." So he's polite in his forgetfulness of what happened. Meanwhile, the back end, 100 entrepreneurs, you guys could sit back and mine that information and say, gosh, 62% of the people who came through this avatar search experience, they were all looking for this. Or 27% were from Indiana, or 18% were really annoyed with something. This is why Delta Airlines likes it and all these other groups that they're working with, because in addition to the little chatbot that you can, try to get your discount or your, benefit from some website and not wait online, this is a little bit more personal, and it allows you to speak as I'm speaking right now and get your point across, and it'll try and try. And then, sometimes it does crap out and you do have to get on the phone. But the companies like Delta, Random House, and others on the back end, they're able to adjust their approach, their website, their focus, and say, gosh, 68% of our inbound through this bot were all about this subject. So it's good for the consumer and it's good for the organization hosting too, because it gives you a lot more information than you otherwise could ever get.
So that must be an open AI system, not a closed one.
Yes, I believe it is.
Paul's is because they're dealing
privacy.
with privacy is a closed system.
I think this would be part of the discovery process with talking to John and his guy in New York, Nick, who I know. And I'll see if I can get him to donate the service to 100 entrepreneurs and say, hey, look, this could be your contribution.
Even for a couple of months to try it.
Yep.
Amanda, could you send around the note that John posted in an email to us?
Yep.
Great.
And let me know if it doesn't work. I'll send it again through a different way. Because, of course, all things millennial, like all these folks send it through text messages. So I sort of cut and pasted it over.
I do a lot of cutting and pasting.
To all of us, you got copied on the email.
Yeah.
Lee, would you mind introducing me to Paul?
Yeah. I'll connect you, Amanda.
Okay, thank you so much.
Now, just so you know, VAMSA, who I introduced Lee to, is claiming they have invented AI in the veterans field and are taking it all over the world.
No, that's Paul.
Anyway, but I think these are fabulous ideas. And I think it's just trying to predict where the hell we're going in this crazy world and how things are changing.
Yeah. I think you'll get a lot more folks coming to sessions. It's so timely. I was just at the Society of Construction Law in San Diego, and half of the sessions were on AI, and the other half had panels where they were talking about how they're using AI, even though it wasn't the headline of the subject. So you need to be talking about it somehow or another, or use it. And either way is good.
10% of the audience understood what they were hearing.
Oh, believe me, it was entertaining for sure.
Well, and Bob, a good friend of mine who was in the federal government working on suicide prevention, not surprisingly, lost her job. But now she's in the construction industry working on suicide prevention.
Peter Davern of Turner is putting a huge push in this, right, Tom?
Yeah, 5
I
million
mean,
bucks.
mental health, the whole shebang.
Yeah, no, she's great. She was an intern with me.
Bechtel dropped in 7 million to that same cause for the same purpose. Because construction and military, their Venn diagram is very interesting. And the Stop Soldier Suicide guys are doing the black box effort as part of their rationale for fundraising. The idea being if I can collect all of your electronic devices from the surviving family members and on an anonymized basis get some predictive understanding what this person was searching for, saying in text messages, what time of day, maybe there's some formula in there and information that you can maybe get ahead of it and the person doesn't make that terrible choice.
Will
So
that include XXX hard bodies?
you're safe, Bob. You're safe. It specifically puts those in a secure environment. No problem.
Okay. I really appreciate your thoughts today because unbeknownst to any of us, when we created this thing 15 years ago, and I still remember when Amanda was going to make an Apple web page for 100 entrepreneurs, and you were wondering how you were ever going to fill it, or an app. That's what it was. It was a 100 entrepreneur app. And it's astounding where it goes. And what really astounds me is I still think we're on the cutting edge of how you help veterans and caregivers. And the funny thing, Patty signed off, but I can talk to Pat Horan on the phone, and he'll understand what I'm talking about. So it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Thanks for sharing.